Just wait in here for a few minutes. Late intakes arrived, Mrs. Spencer. Just been brought over.
No peace for the wicked. How many? 4. 9 months fraud. 3 months shoplifting. 18 months robbery with menaces. Nance Duggan. That's a nice little lot. Hold on. Weeks. Georgina Weeks? I don't believe it.
Get off. They should have left her lying where they found her. God, can you smell her?
I can.
They gave me a bath, washed me clothes.
Didn't get rid of the smell, did it, you dirty pig?
Georgie?
Evening, Mrs. Spencer.
I didn't expect to see you here again, Georgie.
Well, the spirit was willing, Mrs. S.
You look as if you could do with your bed. Number 17.
Come along, this way.
Come in here.
Here, let me take that for you, love. You shouldn't be carrying nothing in your condition. Come along. In you go.
What's your name?
Nance Duggan, miss.
Well, you'll have to share. You better go in with Mrs. Weeks. And you two,
This way.
in here.
In you
Georgie Weeks? Is she back again?
She came in last night, drunk and disorderly.
Oh, Georgie. Well, I never.
I take it she's been in before? Oh, one of the old regulars, Governor.
How long she got this time?
6 months.
What, for drunk and disorderly?
Oh, she also broke the windows of a police station and assaulted an officer.
How many new admissions came in last night?
8 altogether, 4 here on North Wing.
Were you able to fit them in without any trouble?
They had to double up. In fact, we've only got one single occupied cell left on the wing.
If this goes on, we should be up to 3s before we know where we are.
Yes. Well, thank you, Marion. Send a memo to my office, will you, detailing the accommodation situation on the wing?
Certainly, Governor.
Mrs. Armitage, I'm very concerned about this. I don't really know what to...
Better go and sit down there. Oh, morning, madam.
Miss Bass.
Chief.
What's up with Kirk?
Well, she's been having giddy spells, so Miss Collins put her on sick report.
Valerie, isn't it?
Yes, madam.
I hear you've not been well.
I just feel so tired all the time.
What does Dr. Mays say?
I've been given some pills and rest after meals.
Let's hope it clears up then. She doesn't look at all well.
Been like that ever since she came in, madam. Listless, not much go about her.
Where's she working now?
In the kitchens, madam.
Well, send her to a work party. It'd be better for her than sitting around here.
Right.
I don't believe a word of it, Georgie.
God's honour, cross me heart, Doctor.
You mean you really drank shoe polish?
Shoe polish, air lacquer, anything that had alcohol or spirit on the bottle.
Yeah, well, it's a wonder that you're still alive.
That's what they said at the hospital.
Come in.
Not interrupting, are we?
Oh, no, not at all, Governor.
Oh, so you've come back to see us again, have you, Georgie?
Couldn't keep away, Chief.
What is it you miss most, the conversation or the cooking? This is Mrs. Weeks, madam.
Oh, pleased to meet you.
I almost said glad to have you with us.
Well, we very nearly didn't. You tell them. Go on, tell them what you've been drinking this time. Hair lacquer.
Hair lacquer?
Whatever did it taste like?
Oh, horrible at first, but you soon got used to it. Trouble was I swell up, you see. Chest and stomach, they all swole up.
Her lungs and intestines were being choked with semi-liquid plastic. They only got you to the hospital in time.
They made me cough this stuff up. Long, stringy stuff like foam rubber.
Good grief.
And you still went on drinking it?
Oh, no. I went back to the proper stuff. The trouble was I wasn't used to it and it knocked me silly.
I see.
Right, Georgie, back to the wing.
Yes, sir.
She can't help herself, you know. She's too far gone.
She's not vicious, madam. Most of the time she causes trouble just to get back in here. This is the only real home she's got.
I rather gathered that. I wanted to talk to you about Valerie Kirk.
Oh, yes?
Mrs. Armitage tells me she's withdrawn, difficult.
I wouldn't exactly say difficult, madam. She's detached, apathetic.
Yes, well, she is a bit withdrawn, but that's fairly common around here.
What about the fainting spells?
Oh, well, that's anemia. I put her on a course of treatment. Still, that's not to say that all her problems are physical ones.
I don't suppose she ever had much spirit. What little she had has been broken by being in prison.
Well, keep an eye on her, will you?
Yes.
What's up with you? Not like the old days, is it?
What do you mean?
That new governor, she spoiled everything. Doesn't care a damn.
Can't say that. I don't know her yet.
Don't want to, she scares me.
Well, she's not soft, that's for sure. But she's fair. And she's got this place running like clockwork.
That's just it, isn't it? We're not bits of machinery. We're human beings. But I don't think she knows that.
Well, it's quite clear from all these reports we've reached saturation point.
Well, I've been saying that for ages, madam.
Well, you've not exactly been a voice crying in the wilderness, Chief. We've all seen it coming.
And no one's come up with a solution.
Short of putting up tents in the exercise yard, no. There just isn't enough accommodation.
We have to make the most rational use of the space available.
And that means 3 to a cell. And you know what a strain that can cause.
There's no chance of moving anyone to local or open prisons.
No, they're as overcrowded as we are. It's people like Mrs. Weeks who shouldn't be taking up space here.
Poor old Georgie. She'd be better off in a hostel or a nursing home.
Yes, but if they won't have her, where is she to go? Last night she said to Mrs. Spencer, it's nice to be home. We're a refuge for her.
A refuge? That's my point. We aren't the Salvation Army. Governor? Who? Miss Westmore? Yes, put on. Extraordinary. It's my sister. Haven't heard from her for years. Hello? Sarah? Yes, I'm fine. And you? Is anything wrong? When? Tomorrow? Yes, I'll be here, of course, but... Fine. We'll talk then. All right. Bye. I'm sorry. Where were we?
You are.
I'm not your skivvy.
You are. You'll do whatever I say. You'll clean this Peter up.
Yes.
Make my bed. Lick my boots if I tell you. Understand? What I say goes, see?
Yes.
That chief screw and all the others, they got a soft spot for you. Well, any little extras you get, you share with me. Understand?
Yes.
You go bleating to them, you start complaining, and I'll break every bone in your body. Get it? Right. Take my shoes off. Polish them up with a cloth.
I haven't got a cloth.
Use your towel. And sit over there where I can watch you. Harder, you lazy old git. I want to see a real shine on them.
You are on report for refusing to work, Valerie. Yes?
Didn't refuse, madam.
The chef says she was given her allocation of vegetables to prepare. When the others had all finished, she hadn't even started. It has happened before.
Why didn't you do them?
Didn't realise the time.
You were daydreaming?
Thinking.
What about? Well, I'll accept that you didn't actually refuse to work, but if this happens again, I shall have to punish you. Do you understand?
Yes, madam.
Very well, cautioned.
Right, take her out.
What do you think?
I'm not sure. I'm beginning to wonder if she isn't just having us on, seeing how much she can get out of us.
It's possible. Well, is that the last?
That's the last of the reports, madam. There are 2 applications now. Next!
Weeks, Georgina, 54792.
What can I do for you, Mrs. Weeks?
Well, I'm sorry to bother you, Mum, but I
Yes?
was wondering if it was no trouble, like, if I could move to another wing.
But you've always been on North Wing, Georgie.
Yes, Chief.
Then why do you want to transfer?
Well, it needn't be another wing. Perhaps a new room.
Why? Don't you like the person you're sharing with?
Oh, no. Oh, no. Nance and me, we get on fine. She's very good to me.
Then you have no specific reason.
Well, I've always had a room of my own. Mrs. Boswell, the last governor, she always give me a room of my own.
That is true, madam.
Well, that may be, but it isn't possible under the present circumstances. You have no complaints against your roommate. Well, then I can't move people around to suit you. Application dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
Weren't you just a little hard on her, madam? She has been used to more sympathetic treatment.
Yes, I gathered that. Perhaps that's why she keeps coming back. Next.
Did you really want to transfer Georgie?
Oh, no, Miss Collins, you've always been very good to me.
Then what is it? Well, remember you can come and see me any time.
Anything you want to tell me?
No, miss.
Oh, come on, there's something wrong.
No. No, honest. It's just being back in prison and everything, and that new governor, she don't understand. You can't talk to her.
All right, Georgie. Look, don't worry. Whatever it is, we'll take care of it. Get some sleep. I'll come see you tomorrow.
What was all that about? Been telling tales, have you?
I never said nothing.
Better not. Just in case. Maybe I should teach you another little lesson.
Well, I've excused her work for a couple of days.
I wish I knew what was frightening her.
Are you sure there's something?
Yes, of course. And the one chance to find out what was thrown away.
Ah.
Well, she made an application to see the governor. I mean, if Mrs. Forrester had treated her with an ounce of sympathy...
What makes you think she didn't?
Well, Georgie's reaction to her. Obviously, Mrs. Forrester was doing her distant voice of authority bit. Oh, she made...
Oh, not that old hobby horse again.
Oh, as usual, yes, you'll defend her. But in this case, I think it's quite clear what made her react in that way.
What?
The fact that Georgie Weeks is an alcoholic, like Mrs. Forrester's husband was.
Oh, come on.
Well, you told me about it yourself.
Well, yes, I did, and I wish to God I hadn't. You
It does
keep
help
on
to
using it.
explain
For
some
God's
of her
sake, give it a
attitude.
rest.
Shut up! I'm sorry if it spoils your perfect image of her.
Hello there. Hey, don't tell me both of you finished work on time.
Yes.
Good. Are we ready then?
Ready?
Yeah, we're going around the corner for a drink.
Oh, you're going too? Thank goodness for that.
I'd love to, Tom.
Oh, good. They're doing the Algarve cello concerto and some Brahms.
No, I mean, I'd love to, but I have to stay in tonight.
Oh, can't the work wait for once?
It isn't work. I'm waiting for my sister. You remember Sarah?
Oh, good heavens, yes. Is she in London?
Well, that's just the point. She phoned yesterday to say she'd be in town today and would look me up.
But she didn't say when she was arriving.
No, and now there's hardly time for a meal. I expect she'll be getting the night train back to Stratford.
Oh, yes. Wasn't she a headmistress at a girls' school there or something?
Assistant head, as far as I know.
Yeah. Do you see much of her?
No, I've hardly seen her at all in the last 10 years. I can't imagine what... Ah. Sarah.
Hello, Helen. I hadn't realised you lived so close to the prison. You're practically inside it.
Yes.
The taxi driver gave me a very funny look.
You remember Dr. Lindsay, don't you?
Oh, yes, of course.
Hello, Sarah. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How's your wife?
She died.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm not sure what you're planning to do, Sarah. You probably don't have much time.
I'm in no hurry to do anything. I shall be here a few days.
Here?
Oh, is it all right? There is a spare room.
Oh, yes.
I really couldn't face a hotel.
They're so money-grubbing and impersonal.
Yes,
and I
of
thought
course.
that... Good.
So I think I'll run along. I'll phone you.
Goodbye, Sarah.
Goodbye.
Bye. Well, would you like a drink or something?
Oh, I suppose it's quite pleasant. Somehow I thought they'd give you something a bit grander. After all, you are the governor.
It suits me.
It's a bit old-fashioned, though, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, well, one day.
Oh, Helen, do you have to smoke?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it's a very antisocial habit.
Sit with you. You're lucky. You've got a room of your own. I used to have my own room. I kept it nice. Not like that. I wouldn't tell anyone but you, but that Nance Duggan I share with, she's got some very nasty habits. Not nice at all, she isn't. I'll tell you a secret. I said I'll tell you a secret.
Right, now settle down, you two.
Oh, yes? The governor's bringing a visitor around today, so keep on your toes.
Someone from the Home Office?
Her sister. The chief wants us to make a good impression.
Oh, no. Don't say there's two of them.
No, no.
Well, of all the places my sister might end up in, I never thought of prison. Although really, I've seen many a girls' school that isn't as comfortable as this.
Well, I think we have a few more restrictions here, Miss Westmore.
Perhaps. Of course, the worst punishment there is that you're sent out if you misbehave. Expelled, I mean.
Yes, I did get that.
And I'm sure Helen's very glad to have you here with all your experience.
Yes, I am.
As an assistant head myself, I know how often I've had to cover up for my boss. But then that's part of our job, isn't it?
Oh, I wouldn't say that exactly.
It's a bit unnatural, though, isn't it, for a man to be deputy to a female governor?
Oh, we don't see it that way.
Well, I'm sure you try not to. I find it hard enough to be second in command without any more complications.
I carry out my duties at the executive level I've reached, Miss Westmore. I think I fulfill a useful function.
Be careful, Sarah. You'll have Mr. Radley sending in his notice next.
They never do.
Would you like to see around a bit more?
No, I don't think many people would dispute that. Yes. Yes, I agree with you. Some women are capable of committing crime as a result of illness.
But is that sufficiently taken into consideration?
Well, I don't make any judgments as to guilt or innocence, if that's what you mean. I'm too busy treating them for chilblains, ulcers, backache, bronchitis, obesity, venereal disease, and 101 other complaints.
You saw how busy the hospital wing is.
Yes. I keep forgetting that I am in a prison.
Well, that's a luxury you have as a visitor.
Well, I'm sure that many people outside would welcome the kind of attention that the women are given in here. So you're responsible for security?
My officers are responsible for seeing that the routine is observed and that discipline is maintained at the level required by the governor.
Well, that couldn't be difficult. If my sister has a fault, it's that she's too forgiving.
I don't think there's many in here would agree with that, Miss Westmore.
Really? Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Spencer. This is Miss Collins, the Assistant Governor on North Wing, and Miss Clark, our Senior Welfare Officer.
Hello. Oh, welfare. That must be very interesting.
Well, most of the time, yes.
Would you like to go into Miss Collins' office?
What sort of things do you deal with?
Well, initially settling in problems and their complications at home.
Is she off work again?
When the nurse gave her our pill today, she told her to rest. Trouble is, madam, she doesn't respond to anyone.
As the aim of prisoners, everyone says, is rehabilitation, yours must be a very important department.
Well, we tend to think so, but we try not to say it too loudly.
Forgive me for interrupting, but something's come up I have to deal with. Would you like to have a look at the kitchens? See if you can find Mr. Radley, and I'll join you as soon as I can.
Yes.
Don't go, Marion. I'd like to have a look at Valerie's file.
Yes, Governor.
She got 2 years, didn't she?
Yes, that's right.
She stole some jewellery from her guardian, was that it?
Yes, both her parents are dead, and this woman's been looking after her since she was about 13.
Did she say why she did it?
Well, she put up no defence at all at her trial, and she won't even talk about it now.
And she was living at this woman's home at the time?
Yes, apparently her guardian was paying for her to attend a secretarial college. She was going to take her on as a kind of secretary companion after.
The woman must have cared for her. Didn't she say anything in mitigation at the trial?
No, the opposite. That's why the sentence was so severe. She said that Valerie had been pinching odd things from her for years, but it had got to a point where she couldn't ignore it anymore.
I see. Do you think perhaps Valerie's ashamed of what she did, feeling guilty?
That's it, Governor. She's punishing herself. Well, she won't trust anybody.
Good morning, Valerie.
Madam?
We're becoming very concerned about you. Dr. Mays says you're getting better, but are you? I'd like to help, but I can't if you shut yourself away. Some people say you don't want to be helped, but I think you do. Why don't you sit down? Now, I'm going to tell you what I think is troubling you, and you can say if I'm wrong. All right? How did your parents die?
Car crash.
Ideal system would be for the uniformed officers to be replaced by welfare workers.
Ideal, perhaps, but I think it might cause a fair amount of chaos, wouldn't you say so, Liz?
Well, perhaps discipline is necessary in the initial stages, but I
Of course, when we were at school, we always thought best.
So she became your guardian and you went to live with her. Was she a relative?
Aunt Lucy. She's not a real aunt.
But she was good to you and tried to take the place of your parents.
Yes.
Didn't she want to adopt you?
No, she just wanted me to live with her. Always.
Did you resent that?
No, I loved her. I thought I loved her.
How do you mean?
I didn't know anyone else. She took me to school and brought me straight home. Never went anywhere.
But what about school friends?
Didn't have any. She told me not to trust anyone. She wouldn't let me go out or bring anyone home.
What did you do when you came home from school?
Housework. Cooking and cleaning. Had a maid's uniform. And others.
Go on.
I used to have to read to her. A book she had. Didn't know what they meant at first.
How old is she?
Oh, Lucy. She's not old. Not young.
And you saw no one else? What about the people at school? Didn't they ask you to play or come out with them?
When my parents died, she sent me to a new school where I didn't know anyone. Once I went for a walk. Just to the river and back. She said I'd gone to meet someone in secret. I thought she was going to kill me.
Did you never try to get away from her?
I loved her. I thought that was how everyone lived.
But I don't understand. She did send you to secretarial college.
On condition I spoke to no one but the teachers.
And you were still living in her home?
Yes. You see, she wrote books too, and I was to type them, to be her secretary. But at the college. For the first time I met people my own age. Realised they weren't like me. I tried not to talk to them, but I had to answer when they spoke to me.
Yes. Did you tell your guardian?
I had to. I didn't want to leave her. I just wanted to be more like them.
What happened then?
She said she'd have to think about it.
Did she attack you again?
I thought she was going to, but instead she cried. It was almost worse. Then she said she'd forgive me and gave me the necklace and things.
Are you saying you didn't steal them?
No, she gave them to me, to show she'd forgiven me. I didn't even realise they were valuable until a few days later came out of class, there was a policeman waiting for me.
Sarah? Sarah? Where are you? Oh, hello.
You're very late.
Well, I did tell you I was going to be busy.
I've been sitting here for over an hour.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, I've come to have lunch with you.
Well, I imagine you have it here anyway.
No, I don't. I usually have a sandwich in the office. Oh, come on, Sarah, I didn't abandon you deliberately. Something came up I had to deal with.
Engrossing, no doubt.
Yes, it was. A young girl sentenced for theft, and it very much looks as if she didn't do it.
A miscarriage of justice.
It's quite likely. A case where the law has been used to satisfy private jealousy.
Is that possible?
Oh, very possible. This girl has been systematically abused by an older woman in whose care she was and who's now turned against her.
Well, we do come across this sort of relationship in school. But I find this kind of thing is seldom one-sided.
I'm not talking about school.
I make it a rule to be completely impartial in such cases. To show sympathy is to risk the transference of the emotional attachment to oneself.
Sarah, I do know what I'm doing. And this girl is in my charge.
A lot of what she said made sense. I dare say she's very good at her own job.
I just wish she wouldn't try to teach me mine.
Yeah. She nearly got me going a couple of times, I must admit.
It's worse for me. As the older sister, she ruled the roost at home, and to her, the relationship is still the same.
Now, as far as your job's concerned, you just got to remind yourself that she's an amateur. And amateurs don't understand our particular problems.
That's true.
Now, that said, I'm afraid I'm going to have to differ with you about something.
Oh?
Mrs. Weeks. Chief and I have been keeping an eye on her, and we both agree that there's something wrong.
Well, you'd better handle it.
Fine, I'll talk to Mrs. Armitage.
There's someone else I'm very concerned about. I want to get her sorted out first.
Ah. You mean Valerie Kirk? Yes, I read your note on her.
And?
Do you believe her version of the story?
I don't know. Anyway, I'll get it checked out.
And if it's true?
Well, I'll do what I can to get her a pardon.
Georgie? Oh, it's all right. Sit down. Just looked in to see how you were.
Fine, Chief.
You don't sound it. Don't look it either. What's got into you? Why aren't you out there with the others? You used to enjoy a bit of noise and a laugh.
Well, I don't feel like it.
What's up? Come on, you can tell me. Must be something bad if you can't handle it. You used to be able to handle most things.
Not anymore. I'm getting past it.
Never.
I'm getting old. And that's when being in the nick's no use. Outside, at least people show you a little consideration. And here they walk all over you.
Now, that's not true, Georgie.
It's a fact. No home, no husband, nothing to look forward to except being alone.
You mustn't think that way.
Well, I try not to. Yeah, I hear tell you're Ted, isn't it? He's not been too well.
Oh, he had a bad turn a while ago. But he's managing.
That's right, Chief. Keep your pecker up, eh?
It's the only way, Georgie. It's the only way.
Well, what would you like to do this evening?
I'm quite comfortable here, thank you.
But you've been stuck in the flat all day. Wouldn't you like to go to a film or the theatre?
Well, surely we could stay in and talk for a bit.
Very well, if you prefer that. Has the whole school broken up?
Oh, no, it's still term time.
Ah. I think I'll get us a drink. Oh, excuse me.
hope you didn't mind me popping around.
Not at all.
Hello, Sarah.
We were just about to have a drink. Will you join us?
Yes, what a very good idea. I can't let two young, lovely ladies drink by themselves, can I?
You know where the ice is. Would you get it?
Yes, of course.
Does he make a habit of dropping in here? I mean, just coming in uninvited?
He was one of Guy's oldest friends and mine. Why shouldn't he?
Well, I should have thought he'd consider your reputation. After all, you have a position to keep up.
Here we are.
Thank you, Tom.
Do you know, I was trying to think when it was we were last together.
I don't think I want to remember that far.
There we are, Sarah.
Thank you.
Helen was telling me that you're still at the same school.
Yes.
I think that's absolutely splendid. They must be ready to give you a long service medal by now.
Tom?
Oh, thank you.
How do you get here? By the gatehouse?
Well, I park there, then I walk round the side. Why?
Well, Sarah thinks it might damage my reputation amongst the women if you're known to visit.
It's the staff I'm thinking of. One can't be too careful.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, I hope she's not going to stay much longer.
Yes, well, it can't be easy with the two of them in that flat.
They don't seem to have much in common.
Oh, they hardly ever see each other. See, when Helen came back from Malaya, her sister was too busy with her own career to have very much time for her.
Helen told you this, did she?
Well, yes, she just mentioned it.
So what's her sister doing here?
Ah, well, we'd all like to know that, wouldn't we? No.
They're here.
Oh, thank you.
You know, I've been thinking, if you're staying a little while longer, Sarah, I'd very much like to take both of you out one evening.
Oh, that would be lovely. Of course, I don't know how long you're planning to stay.
I'm not sure.
Well, I'll check with Helen. I think I better be going. I've got a lecture tomorrow. Environmental psychology for my sins. Oh, please don't bother. I'll see myself out. Sidle past the gatehouse. I'll give you a ring. Goodbye, Sarah.
Bye. You weren't very pleasant to him.
Should I have been?
Considering he came here partly to see you.
Nonsense. He wouldn't care if I didn't exist.
Now, why say that? Why assume he doesn't like you?
It's a matter of indifference to me. I don't need to be patronised.
Oh, come on, Sarah.
I don't need Ton Lindsay fawning over me to make me feel wanted. I have friends of my own, thank you very much.
I know that.
I think I'll go to bed. I've got a slight headache.
Can I get you anything?
No, thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, Valerie, I'm glad to see you're eating. The nurse tells me you weren't going to take the pills.
I don't need them anymore.
Well, I think we'll let her decide. It's silly to refuse them when they've obviously done you a lot of good.
Oh, it's Mrs. Forrester who's made me feel so much better. I'm just talking to her.
Well, she gave you confidence.
It was more than that. See, I didn't want to talk to anyone, but the way she looked at me. She seemed so understanding, I just had to tell her everything.
Well, it's just as well. You know she's looking into your case.
Yes. I want to see her again. So much more I have to tell her.
Hasn't Georgie been served already?
Yeah, that's right. Hey, you having two breakfasts this morning, Georgie?
Well, that was for Nance, miss.
Why? Can't you get it herself?
Well, no, I just thought she'd like her breakfast in bed.
You didn't stop out for her too, did you?
All right, Georgie, get your breakfast. I think I'll give the chief a ring.
It's time I was in the office. There.
Thank you.
What are you going to do today?
Why,
Sarah, is something wrong?
should there be?
Well, it's just that you haven't been out of the flat for 2 days.
Well, I like it here. It's quiet. I can think.
Yes, it's quiet. Well, if you're not going out, I'll call in at lunchtime.
Well, there's no need. Don't let me interrupt your routine.
All right. I'll call anyway.
You're having 2 lunches today, then, Georgie?
About bloody time. I told you what you'd get if you didn't pick your feet up, you doddering old bat. What were you doing, cooking it? And next time, see you're first in the queue.
Would you like it on the table?
She told you. It's lies. Whatever she said, she's lying. What are you... You can't touch me. Don't you come near me.
You like hurting old ladies, do you? Twisting their arms, slapping them about a bit.
You can't prove nothing. You can't touch me. I know my rights.
Well, from the list lining up for the courts, there's every likelihood we shall face an even heavier demand for accommodation over the next 2 or 3 months.
So how do we prepare for it?
Well, you yourself gave the only practical solution a couple of days ago, madam. No more single cells. 3 to a cell is the norm on remand, and, if necessary, on the wings.
But there will still be a need for some single cells. For the highly nervous, the elderly.
Oh, we do try to cater for individual needs as far as possible, Liz.
That's one of the reasons I asked assistant governors for their reports.
I mean, take Mrs. Weeks. Well, I know that in some quarters she's considered to be a nuisance and to be here under more or less false pretences, but... Well, she was given no opportunity to choose the person she shares with, and she was put in with somebody completely unsuitable.
I quite agree. And on evidence presented by Mrs. Armitage, we've now moved her.
Apparently Nance Duggan's been terrorising her ever since they were put together.
Well, what have you done with Duggan?
No, can't touch her. Old George is still too scared of her to confirm any charges. But Mrs. Armitage has had a word.
I think she's seen the error of her ways. We've put her in with Tessa Brady and Joan Fleet.
She won't be able to strong-arm them.
I wish she'd tried on.
And so Georgie is on her own?
No, we put her in with Valerie Kirk. She had the last of the single cells.
They'll both be better for each other's company.
Will you look at that? Oh, blimey.
God, hey, look, Mrs. Spence.
Oh, no!
Who is it?
Your cellmate, Valerie.
However did you? I hardly recognised you.
Does it look all right?
Oh, well, it takes a bit of getting used to. Looks like that new governor.
Here, madam. Can I have an extra visit?
Who wants to be the governor's pet then?
Oh, who done it for you, dear? Pete Alcessoon.
Be quiet! I think it looks very nice.
Mrs. Forrester. Here, madam.
You fancy her, do you?
What you going as, dear? Dracula's sister?
Stop it!
What's going on here?
All right, break it up, you lot. Break it up.
Did you know about it, Miss Collins?
No, Governor.
Well, I'd better not speak to her now. Mrs. Spencer, will you ask her to wash the rinse out of her hair and part it the way she normally does?
Yes, madam. I'm sure it wasn't intended maliciously, Governor.
Whatever the intention, the effect is the same.
She must have got it from the shop in the lunch hour, madam. She meant it as a kind of tribute.
I know that, Mrs. Armitage, but so do the women.
I don't know what all the fuss is about. I think it suits you. Oh, there. Don't cry. Oh, don't cry. Not over that lot. They're not worth it.
It's not them. I don't care about them. It's Mrs. Forrester. I've heard her. She thinks I'm awful.
Oh, how could she? Go and see her. That's the best way. Tell her you didn't mean no harm.
She won't see me until the rinse is washed out, and that could take days.
Well, I tell you what. Don't wait. Make a special evening appointment to see her private. Tell her you're sorry. You'll see.
Well, this is a pleasant surprise.
Me coming to see you?
You haven't exactly beaten the path to my doorway over the past 2 or 3 days.
I have a door too.
Reinforced with several thicknesses of sheet ice lately.
Well, I've been busy.
I see.
Look, I've been shopping and I bought some things for a special dinner tonight.
As a surprise.
Tonight?
And I wanted to say sorry.
I really don't know what to say. Yeah, I'd love to come.
But?
Well, I've just accepted an invitation from Helen.
Helen?
Mrs. Forrester. See, it's just for drinks. It's to make up a foursome with Lindsay and her sister.
Oh, where?
At her flat.
Oh, you've been there before?
Well, once or twice, yes. See, I don't know how long it'll go
No,
on.
there's no need to explain. I quite understand.
Well, no, I don't think you do understand. I'm only
You
helping
don't
out.
have to go on about it. You've told me.
Yeah, but I do have to go on about it.
No,
I'm
it's
only...
all right. It's only a meal. Some other time.
No, I don't think it's possible, Valerie.
If I could only see her.
Well, it's too late to make an application this evening, and anyway, you need a special reason.
But I have. I wanted to explain. I just want to be like her.
Yes, I'm sure she knows that, but I don't think it's wise to force yourself on her at the moment. So let's just forget about this application, shall we?
And the jockeying for position amongst the staff at a girls' school is absolutely amazing. Interdepartmental politics.
We have that sort of thing in the civil service, too.
I can believe it.
The great difficulty nowadays is staff. I mean, where have all the real teachers gone?
Yes.
I interviewed a girl for the post of junior classics mistress, and she actually said Latin is a dead language. I don't believe in teaching the grammar, only the poetry from translation. Well, I ask you.
I'm surprised they can spare you in the middle of term. I mean, that you can get away.
Well, I do have a certain status. I don't have to clock in.
Oh, no, of course not.
I just said I was going up to London for a few days. Do them good. Let them see how well they can get on without me. That new headmistress, well, the least said about her, the better.
Well, I think the coffee should be about ready by now.
Let me give you a hand.
Coffee? I'd like another gin.
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much for coming tonight.
Well, it's been a pleasure.
We've learned a great deal about how to run a girls' school.
Yes, we certainly have.
I wonder, do we talk as much about our work?
Oh, no, not to outsiders, no. But then your sister is exactly what she says she is, a dedicated teacher. I was got to admire that.
Yes.
She's a very intelligent woman.
Oh, she was brilliant as a girl. Great things were expected of her. My parents weren't rich, but they were able to send her to a good school and then Cambridge.
And you?
Oh, I was a late starter. I got a grant to a London university, much to everyone's surprise.
All right.
We missed something.
Well, it's just...
It's a secret.
What?
I have been hearing about the time you climbed through the window of the vicar's teapot.
Not that. It hadn't even started, and there was this table covered with scones and cakes and chocolate biscuits. She nearly scoffed the lot.
Felonious entry.
I was only about 4.
She had a terrible tummy ache afterwards. I'm sorry, God, she kept saying I'd never do it again.
Do you think we could change the subject? Would you like some coffee, Sarah?
Strange how well you've got on. I was thinking the other day when I went over the prison. Who would have imagined it?
It's been a slow process.
No, I mean, well, to recover so quickly after Guy's death, and then to take up a new career.
Very successfully, if I may say so.
Well, not everyone has the chance.
Well, it's something you make for yourself, surely.
Not everyone is young enough to start again. You can work as hard as you know how.
Success is only relative, anyway.
Well, how else do you measure your life? By success in your work, your family, your friendships.
Will you excuse me a minute?
Yes, of course.
Sarah,
I'm all right.
isn't it about time you told me what's wrong?
It's nothing. Nothing at all.
What's the matter?
Oh, you wouldn't understand.
Please tell me.
Oh, poor Sarah. So much was expected of her. And now here you are with your position, your success, and I'm still nowhere.
But you've done brilliantly.
Assistant headmistress, the same as assistant for 20 years, always taking second place, always with no chance of a school of my own.
You'll take over one day.
No. They've passed me over. After so long, the board appointed someone else. I was too valuable, they said. Too valuable in my present position. They didn't even consider me.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I could bear it when Miriam was there.
Miriam?
Yes, my friend Miriam. Surely I told you about her, wrote to you.
I don't remember. I'm sorry. What about her?
I always planned to have her as my assistant. We both planned. And then she left suddenly last term with no warning. She said she was transferring to a school in the north. I write, but she doesn't reply.
Was this after you heard you'd been passed over as headmistress?
Oh, I'm sure that wasn't the reason. I don't know what went wrong. Without her, I've no one, nothing. The girls, they don't like me. I try, but they're afraid of me. I could stand it while Miriam was there.
It's not the school, is it? It's Miriam. Her going away, that's what hurts so much. I do understand.
What do you understand?
How much you care for her.
She was my friend. It was a friendship, nothing more.
Of course. I'm not insinuating anything else.
What's become of my life? I'm sorry. I won't bother you anymore. I should be leaving in the morning.
Only if you like, and let
Yes,
them
do, because I'd
say
really
what
like to
they
hear
say.
about that. Because I have no idea about the figures or anything.
I was going to mention...
I'm so sorry.
Is there anything I can do?
No, but thank you.
Well, it is getting rather late, if you don't mind now. Good night, Tom.
Good night, Peter.
Good night, Peter.
Good night.
Hey, come sit down, Helen. That's it. Have a cigarette.
It's just that I feel I've never really known her.
Oh, you can't blame yourself for that, surely.
Now I've got a chance to get close to her, to help her.
Well, do you really think you can?
I don't know, but I'd like to try.
Helen, may I say something? As an outsider, Sarah is obviously intelligent and capable, but she has no real feelings for anyone except herself. She's absorbed herself in her work and in herself. It's her protection against the disappointments of her life.
She's so very lonely, Tom.
Yes, I'm sure she is. But if you want to help her, you will have to devote yourself to her completely. She'd take nothing less. Now, you just weigh that against your present responsibilities. 300 or 400 women who depend on you. Not just one.
Valerie? Valerie Kirk?
We tried to get in touch with you, madam.
I was taking my sister to the station.
Apparently she went to work this morning as usual, and as soon as she reached the kitchen, she went straight to the carving knives, grabbed one and slashed her wrists.
She lost a lot of blood. It was everywhere. But Dr. Mays thinks that she has a chance.
Where is she now?
St. Bridget's intensive care.
Oh, I feel responsible for her.
The girl is unstable, madam. I mean, this business with the hair, it was a sort of hero worship.
After all, you couldn't let a thing like that pass.
No, but I should have gone to speak to her, said something just to show that I understood. It's all right, Mrs. Weeks. Sit down.
I can't believe it. That poor girl.
I believe she's going to be all right.
I'd have never forgiven myself.
Why?
Well, she was used to being on her own and I come barging in.
Oh, that's not the reason. You've nothing to blame yourself for.
It's funny, but she didn't seem to know anything, well, about ordinary life.
No.
She was hoping to be paroled, even released.
She could be.
Oh, that's nice. Well, she's young, she'll find somebody. make a new life for herself. Not like me. All I've got is me. Still, I've had my moments.
I can believe that.
Oh, I could tell you some stories you'd never believe.
Try me.
Well,